Let's continue with 7 and 401 thousandths written in expanded notation. So this is 7 and 401 thousandths. When I look at it in the place value chart, I see I have 7 ones, 4 tenths, 0 hundredths, and 1 thousandths. So 7 times 1 plus 4 copies of 1 tenth plus 1 copy of 1 1,000th. Notice I don't have any hundredths, so I can leave that portion blank. Which is greater, 1 tenth or 1 hundredth? Show the comparison on the number line. Well, 1 tenth is located where the arrow goes to, but 1 hundredth is 10 times smaller, so it goes just after the 0. So therefore, 1 tenth is greater than 1 hundredth. Which is greater, 2 tenths or 3 hundredths? I can point my arrow at exactly where 2 tenths is, and 3 hundredths is much smaller. So therefore, 2 tenths is greater than 3 hundredths. We can relate the dividend, divisor, and quotient in a division problem to parts of an array model. Michael makes $55 in tips every week as a waiter at Paradisso's restaurant. How many weeks will it take him to earn the $330 he needs to buy a new smartphone? 330 divided by 55 is how many? So how many groups of 55 can we make? Let's use our base 10 pieces. I want to know how many groups of 55 I can make. 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry, I didn't grab a big enough one here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're only at 165. We have to keep going to see how many we will get, how many weeks it will take us. There we go. We've reached 330. So it looks like I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 groups to reach 12. Therefore, it would take 6 weeks to reach $330. A very generous customer comes into Pa's restaurant and leaves a $125 tip. He asks Zeus to split the tip with the other 4 waitresses that are working. How much money should each waitress get? Show using base 10 pieces. Now be careful, a common mistake is they see the word 4 and they automatically divide 125 by 4. This is for Zeus and 4 friends, so there would be 5 of them, right? So if you were to use base 10 pieces, you would notice or see that each person would get $25 part of their tip. You and some friends want to go on a camping trip. Here are the details. 195 students, 1 chaperone for every 7 students, a maximum of 16 people per van, $5 per student, and $8 per adult. We need to know how many chaperones are needed, how many vans are needed, and how much does the trip cost. So we're going to break it down here little by little. We know that the relationship between multiplication and division can help us solve problems. So let's apply that reasoning here. I know that there are 195 students and that there is 1 chaperone for every 7 students. So we're going to use the partial quotients to help us divide. I know that 7 times 20 is 140. If I did 7 times 30, that would be too many. So when I subtract, we get 55. I also know that 7 times 7 is 49 with a remainder of 6. So to find the entire result, we add the pieces that we multiplied by 7 with to get 27. However, there are still 6 kids that won't have a chaperone. So therefore, we would need 28 chaperones in order to have all of our students covered. How many vans are needed? Well, we know that there are a maximum of 16 people per van. We have 195 students. We just figured out that we have 28 chaperones. So we know we have 223 people altogether. Again, we're going to use partial quotients to help us decide how many vans we need. 223 people divided by 16 people to a van. 16 times 10 is 160. Remainder of 63. 6 times 3 is 48 with the remainder of 15. I add 10 and 3 together to get 13, but there's still 15 people that don't have a van. Therefore, we need 14 vans to cover all of our people. How much does the trip cost? We know that it's $5 a student and $8 for an adult. We have 195 students and 28 chaperones. So 195 students times $5 is $975. 28 chaperones times $8 is $224. The total cost, adding them together, the total cost would be $1,199. We know that when we multiply whole numbers, the factors determine the size of the product. Greater factors produce larger products, and smaller factors produce smaller products. I wonder what happens to the product when our factors are decimals. So what happens when we multiply by decimals? Gwen cycles 3.3 miles each day for 5 days. Multiplying with the decimals can be tricky, so it's always a good idea to estimate first. If we were to round 3.3 down to 3, our estimate would be 3 miles times 5 days for 15. If we rounded up to 4, we would estimate 4 miles times 5 days for 20 miles. So our answer should be somewhere between 15 and 17. Excuse me, 15 and 20. Here is a base 10 representation. 3.3 can be represented as 3 wholes, so 3 flats, and 3 tenths. So we would highlight 3 of them. However, we did this amount for 5 days. So we would have to extend the 3 by the 5 as well as the 3 tenths by 5 to create an array, a perfect rectangle. Notice that this is set up just like when we did array models with whole number multiplication back in 4th grade. So the same ideas, the same models can be used over and over again as we filter through the different grade levels. Even when we get to Math 278, you'll see that when we reach algebra tiles, when we want to FOIL or use the distributive property. So along the top, we'll have 3 plus 3 tenths. So I break them down into the whole. On the left, 5. 5 times 15 and 5 times 3 tenths is 1.5. If I were to add 3 of those tenths together by 5, we would have a whole, we would make one whole, and we would have 5 tenths or half of a square left over. Adding our pieces together using a little bit of mental math, we get 16.5 miles. We can see that when one of the factors is a decimal number that is smaller than 1, the product of the two factors is smaller than the whole number factor. Homework. Print off the attached document and the drop box. Complete the pages being as thorough as possible so I can follow your thinking. Scan and upload your documents back into the appropriate Dropbox. And the second part, I want you to print off the guided practice worksheet located in the Model Decimals Homework Dropbox. Complete the set of worksheets by watching the videos that are provided in the document. You'll have to click, it'll bring you to a video. It's a very guided, what I like to call guided practice. You'll sketch along the examples that they complete in the videos, and then you'll be able to practice them just on your own. That is focusing on multiplying and dividing decimals using base 10 pieces. I don't think we can ever have enough just doing that. When you're complete, scan and upload your document back into the appropriate Dropbox. We're going to continue grade 5 next week.